SonSon is a 1984 arcade game released by Capcom. It was the third game that they ever made. In it, you control the grandson of Son Goku. No, not that one. As you go rescue your friends who were all kidnapped by the Great Devils, except for the pig, Tonton, who another player can play as with you simultaneously. Now, initially, this game appears to be a side-scrolling platformer, but it's actually a shoot-'em-up. So you ever play a shoot-'em-up and think, I mean, this is fun, but I'm just overwhelmed by the level of freedom I have in my movement? Well, you're in luck. In SonSon, rather than being able to freely move across the screen, you're confined to moving between layers of the screen by going up or down. It's really creative for 1984. Anyways, the game received a port to the Famicom done by Micronix, the same people who created the ports of 1942 and Ghosts and Goblins for Capcom. It sucks. Bad. The game literally starts slowing down and flickering before you even begin playing. And this was its only port for a while. Anyways, SonSon has cameoed quite a bit in various Capcom games throughout the years, but the game only ever received one real sequel, SonSon 2 for the PC Engine. Rather than being a shoot-'em-up though, it's a platformer based on another Capcom arcade game, Black Dragon. This game is actually a prequel to SonSon where you play as Son Goku himself. No, not that one. While the game was developed by Capcom, it was published by NEC because either Capcom was trying to remain loyal to Nintendo out of fear of ruining their relationship with them, or signed some sort of exclusivity contract with them. While they developed and licensed their games out to be released on non-Nintendo platforms, it seems they didn't start self-publishing games for non-Nintendo platforms until they released Final Fight on the Sharp X68000 in 1992. Unfortunately, it seems because of this whole ordeal, games like SonSon 2 haven't been able to be re-released. While there were no sequels after this, the SonSon legacy would be carried on in Marvel vs. Capcom 2, which introduced the granddaughter of SonSon as a playable character. So all of this is interesting, but while there aren't any SonSon sequels that follow the gameplay of the original, there are actually some games that copy it, and it almost spawned its own genre. The first of these seems to be Konami's Peoples, released for the MSX exclusively in Japan in 1985. I first found out about this game when I was playing through the Konami MSX collection on the Sega Saturn. Welcome back to the show. I swear, the longer I make these videos, the less they make sense to newcomers. Anyways, in Peoples, you play as Peoples, this Peter Pan looking dude, who finds himself in a world consumed by darkness caused by the Dark Fairies. So he must travel all throughout Maryland to find the holy gem that will restore light to the world. This game is very technically impressive for the MSX, achieving smooth scrolling, but the first thing you'll notice about it is its similarities to SonSon. Some stuff is just straight up lifted from SonSon, like certain enemy patterns and the fact that you can collect fruit. The biggest differences are that obviously now the game is vertically oriented, and you can only move between gaps in the stage unless you get a certain power-up. It's pretty fun, all I can say about it. Moving on, 2 years later, SNK would unleash upon the world Psycho Soldier. This game was a sequel to their game Athena, except for it takes place in the present and follows Athena's descendant, a Japanese schoolgirl, and her friend Kenso as they fight off evil. But the most interesting thing about this game is that it's the first video game with an original vocal track that can be heard in the game. Who knows? Maybe if I was 10 years older, I would be called the Psycho Soldier. I've already used that joke. There was also an English version, sung by someone who to this day we don't know the identity of.
Because a little girl is sour
I just love being redundant so as to not confuse people, because I've already covered this previously. Anyways, if you couldn't tell by now, this is another SonSon clone, and unlike Pipples, it's horizontally scrolling again. It takes some very specific influence from SonSon, like how its bosses are laid out and how you respawn. Plus, it's 2-player. It's really strange to me that SNK would take influence from a 1984 game in 1987. But I must say, out of all of these games, this one's easily the best, both in terms of gameplay and its non-gameplay elements. Man, if only someone made a word for that. No, not presentation, because things like story and characters aren't just presentation. If only there was a word for that. Like SonSon, Athena has lived on through SNK's fighting games. Unfortunately, after this, the SonSon clone genre just kind of faded away. Now, there's probably other games like this that I'm not aware of, but I haven't been able to find them. I find it really weird how a sort of subgenre can basically start to bloom and then just die out after basically only 3 games in 3 years. The closest I can think of something similar to these games is Honey on the Road, released all the way in 1990 by obscure company Face for the PC Engine, starring their Honey Haniwa mascot. However, while it's clearly inspired by SonSon, it involves melee combat, so it's not really a shooter. As you can imagine, because of that, it's not very good. The controls are just awful, but I could see someone liking it. I guess another game that I can think of that's close to this is actually one that predates SonSon, Donkey Kong 3. Donkey Kong 3 is also a shooter that features you switching lanes, but it's a single screen shooter, and unlike the SonSon style games, you don't shoot within the lanes. Actually, I think Donkey Kong 3 is the best of the original Donkey Kong trilogy, and I suck at it. It's just that the previous games just aged way too poorly as platformers. Add that to the never-ending list of hot takes. Anyways, I guess the one thing I want from this video is to know if you guys know of any other games similar to these. I wasn't trying to do in-depth reviews of them, I was just trying to sort of explain the stuff that threads these games together and just talk about stuff I find interesting about them. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Now, I'm going to end this video with something different from what I usually do. I'm going to look at some of your fan art that you sent me. You can send me fan art however you want, and I'll do this whenever I feel like it fits and I have enough art to showcase. But I need to say, I don't look at Twitter anymore. I've officially quit the platform. At this point, I don't care if it helped me get a lot of traffic. And no, I'm not joining Blue Sky. Imagine if it was called Red Sky. Seriously though, I'm just not entertaining the idea of social media platforms of that ilk. Nothing against people who use them, but yeah. Anyways, we got this one from Twitter by FinneganFox326 of Asmik-kun and Chun. It's really well done, and it came out only a few hours after I made my video on them, so I'm really impressed. I also like the little miles in the corner. Here's another piece from Twitter by Brutal Stuff of Bubsy consoling a crying magical cat. I really like this one. By the way, for anyone who read my community post about it, I have still not received a response from Win Techno about who developed Magical Cat Adventure even a month later. Not sure what to do there. But it's okay, we got Bubsy keeping him company. I got this one off the gram by Pinnacle Kane of this abstract looking Miles. It's really neat, I like this one. I really like the logo, it reminds me of something but I can't really put my finger on it. And lastly, we have this art from Throathead on YouTube of the Door characters. I really like this one. It's so cute, yet kind of wacky and off-kilter. Really well done. You guys are super talented. Thank you for sending me your fan art. Anyways, thank you for watching. Thank you to my patrons. I hope you all have a great day. And let's hope that YouTube as a platform doesn't go to complete shit.